Shivane, welcome back to Creative Curiosity. Obviously, it's been a huge minute since I've done an episode. I honestly can't even remember the last time I did an episode, but um, what I wanted to talk about today is being Maori and being atheist. Um, some of you may not know, but I'm an atheist, and it's been an idea that I've tried to um, express openly, I suppose, without feeling guilt or shame. Like, honestly, like shame. Um, I did a video at the beginning of last year, January 2021, which was the first time I actually spoke about being atheist. But let me, take you fellas on a bit of a journey. I'm not too sure where exactly this episode is going to go, but now you fellas have the context of what this episode is going to be about. But I just want to talk about a few details of how I got here, what it's been like, internalizing and trying not to overthink and worry what other people are going to think before myself. But anyway, I remember going to primary school and doing Bible studies, which was, as a young Maori kid, you didn't know any different. You had Bible studies every week. I think it was like once a week. But I remember I was a junior. I would have been about 7, 6 maybe, and one of the Bible studies teachers, I can't even remember his name, but he's a really, really nice fella. I remember him saying this thing around when people say like God damn it or say Jesus Christ, like when you curse or cuss, whatever. And he said like something along the lines of like if you stub your toe, and then you just have an outburst where you say, "Oh, Jesus Christ," or like, "God damn it," just look up and say, "God, I'm sorry," or "Jesus, I'm sorry." And I, like, as a kid, you don't have the ability to think critically about things like that. You don't have the ability to think otherwise, anything different than what your elders tell you or teach you, or teachers tell you or teach you. So I remember like genuinely believing it. So that was most of primary school. Like used to believe in God and all that, but then I remember getting to high school, and then I was in my last year, so 2009. I was 17, maybe 18. No, I think I was 17, and I got asked just outright, just out of the blue from someone, and they said, "Do you believe in God?" And I was like, "Oh, I don't know." And if I'm being honest, at that time I didn't. A few things didn't sit right with me, with believing in God, and then I remember just being taken aback and sort of internalized it and had a conversation in my own head, and I was like, "Man, do I, or do I? Is the answer really I don't know, or is it no?" And it was no. So fast forward to I want to say around 2016, 2015. I was living in Palmy at the time, and I don't know exactly what it was, but I started. I just started thinking about messages that I had heard about God. And to anybody out there who's watching this or listening to this, you believe whatever you want to believe. Like if you believe in God, that's all good. If it makes you a better person, that's all good. That's fine by me. Where I draw the line though is when I have to participate in things that I don't believe, or not having the choice to say no to participating in things that I don't believe. And then where I also draw the line is where your beliefs literally affect me, or affect other people around me. So yeah, I don't know exactly what it was that made me stop believing in God. Um, but I remember having this conversation around that time, around 2015, I want to say, with this fella, one of my clients. I was doing moko on him, and we both somehow, I think we started talking about the universe and stuff, and then he was like, "Oh, do you believe in are you religious?" And I was like, "Nah, not at all." And he goes, "Yeah, same, but I'm spiritual though. I think I'm spiritual." And I said, "Yeah, I feel like that." And yeah, we just had this like long conversation. I was like, "Man, this feels cool." When we were talking about science, or the limited amount about science we knew. And yes, stuff in that sort of resonated more with me than the religious or the God explanation for the natural world. Um, and at the same time too, I started watching a lot of science videos with like Neil deGrasse Tyson, Bill Nye the Science Guy, and I watched this debate with Bill Nye and this creationist Australian dude, Ken Ham, and man, it was just what do you even call it? I'm trying to look for the word. It was very obvious that to me that science had the explanations for all the things that Ken Ham was saying. And what I love about science is it doesn't try to explain an answer if it doesn't know. Like if science doesn't know, if people don't know who believe in the scientific method, they just say, I don't know, go find out. They don't give a story to it. Like for example, back in the days, um, before people understood um, I don't know, volcanoes or fire. You know, common explanation would be, oh, there's a god, a fire god that makes that fire. But now, obviously, we understand how fire is created, the elements that go into it, etc. And yeah, so the scientific method explained all the things and all of the questions that I had around the natural world, and I started thinking about scrutiny and criticism of belief systems and how, oh, I believe anyway, like anything worth believing in and worth adhering to should be able to be put under a microscope, should be able to be scrutinized, should be able to have questions asked about it. And I'm not okay with people just saying, whatever belief you have, I'm not okay with people just saying that's just how it is, or it's not ours. That's not our question to ask. Like that's not good enough for me. That doesn't sit right with me. And then yeah, so I had gotten to this point where I definitely knew I didn't believe in God. Um, and then through my journey, took it a step further, and then I started thinking about um, different people groups around the world and how Christians, for example, believe in their Christian God. You have Muslims believing in Allah. You have Buddhist monks believing in Buddha, so on and so forth. Um, and then I started thinking to myself, I was like, man, if I'm gonna be critical of this Christian God, I should be turning that lens on myself and my own background, which is being Maori, and Maori gods. And if I put all of those, Atua Maori and um, supernatural stories under the same criticism, do I believe in Maori gods as there's been told, um, and I don't. I have to say I don't, and I don't know, it might sound a bit out of it because I've drawn Atua Maori over the years, but how I believe and how I perceive Atua Māori is as personifications and as personifications of the domains that we say they come from. Tāne from the forest, Tangaroa from the ocean, and as metaphors and and nothing more. So I don't believe in supernatural things. So I don't believe that not saying a prayer or a karakia for something means that something bad is going to happen now. And yeah, I don't know, just saying it out loud now feels it feels so counterintuitive to how I was brought up. So being brought up, in the marae, with karakia and stuff like that. Not super, super handy, but, definitely brought up around karakia and stuff, going to school where we say karakia every morning and every afternoon. And yeah, I think that's part of the reason it's been difficult to get to this point to have this conversation is because, as Maori people, we're one of the big parts of Māoridom that I've learnt is that we're a very spiritual people. And if I'm being honest, I still struggle to understand what that even means. And I don't want to just believe something just because somebody has told me. Like, oh, that's spiritual. That thing that you're doing is spiritual, or that thing that those people are doing is spiritual. So believe it as such. But I can't. I just can't believe in something just because someone told me it. Even if it's, people who are close to me. Even if it's my elders, my teachers, parents, I think from my own experience being Maori and being tuhoi is you don't question what you're told, like especially when it comes to like tapu and things like that. And like I say, if I'm gonna be consistent in my beliefs or lack thereof, then I can't only question other people who are strangers to me, but I have to question the things that I've been told and the things that I've been told to believe, and from those around me as well. And this is not to be disrespectful either. Like I don't believe it as being disrespectful. And if you believe that questioning, and this is not disrespectfully questioning, this is just being curious and trying to understand why we believe certain things or why things are the way they are. I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I'm just trying to make sense and understand the world and our place in it. What else is there? Oh, one thing that's a bunch of things that have crossed my mind, especially doing moko for over half my life, has been how the practice of moko is quite spiritual to a lot of people. And the tikanga around moko is, for a lot of people, is based around sacred knowledge and karakia and atua Maori, things like that. And yeah, I've never felt comfortable 100% with that part of it because I don't believe in it. Um, and I had this. I started seeing. She's not technically a therapist, but she is acting as a therapist. She's technically a relationship and parent coach, but the value that she she gives is exactly the value that I need at this moment. And I started seeing her, and I've had 2 sessions with her, and this was one of the things that came up was talking about being Maori and being atheist. And um, I had this conversation around moko, and it was one of the reasons that I was scared of vocalizing my atheism, especially amongst or to and around my peers in the moko space, people that I respect and look up to, was that I was afraid that if I were to say, oh, I'm atheist, I don't believe in karakia, I don't believe in atua Maori, I believed that they would lose respect for me. And, there was this is, bear in mind, this is all in my head. The thought of that was fear inducing to the point where I was like, oh no, I'll just keep my own beliefs or non-beliefs to myself. But I felt safe in my session with her to be able to open up and talk about those things. And she started sharing with me another perspective of how I could see it, and it was around, and she said, well, what do you think will happen? And I said, oh, I think they'll lose respect for me. And I've tied my identity to my reputation and my credibility as an artist. And then she went back, she said, how long have you been doing art for? And I said, 28 years, almost 29 years. And then she said, there's your credibility and your reputation right there, is your experience. You've been doing it. And I was like, oh, well. So really it was just around being okay with being myself. And then she started talking about like, what would life be like if you did express yourself authentically all the time? And it to me will be a boundless, fulfilled potential. I wouldn't be afraid to speak my mind on things that I believe. I wouldn't be afraid to be corrected or to be wrong. I wouldn't be afraid of criticism. Wouldn't be afraid of what people will think of me. All of these things that were liberating at the core of it, liberating. And where was I going with this? Liberating. Yeah, I think that's it. And it feels good to finally speak about this. Oh, that was another thing too, was another thing that I'm very proud of, and something that's meaningful to me is being veganism. And one of my practices over the last week was sharing things because I want to share them, like on my social media, like sharing things around veganism or things that matter. Because my initial reaction and instinct when I see things that are confronting but that I believe in is, oh man, what are these people going to think about it? Oh, people are going to hate me sharing this story because it's going to challenge the way that they live their life. And then through our conversation, it's like, oh, actually those people aren't paying my power bills. Those people ain't feeding me, and if they are respectful of me as I am of them, then they'll be like, oh yeah, you believe what you want to believe, go hard. But I think I'm pretty much rambling on. Might sound like a bit of an oxymoron, Maori atheism, but just know I'm still the same person. I'm just, you just know now how I think and what I believe. And there are other people who are Maori and atheist, And if this you, if this is you, if you're somebody who's out there listening or watching, and you're like, man, I'm the same. Like I don't believe in things that we've been told. And also, sorry to add on, this is not to just relinquish all of my respect and ties to Maori stories and Maori history. Like I still want to be able to take the parts of our knowledge and our learnings that I believe in, that apply to me, and take the lessons from the stuff that I even don't believe in. Just like I can take them from any other religion. If there's lessons and value to be gained, I'll take them from whatever place and whatever source they come from. Yeah. Thank you, fellas, for listening. This was a bit of a different episode. You fellas have a good day. Cheers.